Hey everybody, it's Boardman21 and today's build is going to be with the Paladin, and I'm just going to call it a Judgment build, but technically the damage is coming from Abyssal Echoes and Devouring Orb, while Vengeance and Judgment are both going to be your damage reduction slash healing. However, I haven't used the build with Judgment in the rotation yet, and Judgment has turned out to be actually a pretty good skill, and it really helps with the survivability on the Paladin, especially since the Paladin doesn't get the same mastery as the Forge Guard with that 30% damage reduction. But between the Vengeance giving 66% damage reduction and Judgment healing you for roughly 200 HP per second while it's active, I think that's for a 5-second duration, and you can have it up all of the time. You just let Abyssal Echoes and Devouring Orb do their thing, especially with the poison damage from the Plague Staff. You'll get some leech out of it, because it does still do some void damage. And then with Holy Aura just in the background, allowing you to do a bunch of Flame Bursts when you're hitting with Vengeance, and the Plague Bear being the Gate Staff, which has some good spell damage on it. You're going to do some pretty decent damage, but you're going to have super high survivability, and that's what's going to allow you to push the ladder more than 200 waves. It's going to come down to your survivability, and the Paladin now has it, especially with Judgment in the rotation. With that, let's go ahead and get into the skills. For skills, we're going to be running Judgment, Abyssal Echoes, Devouring Orb, Sigils of Hope, and Vengeance. For Judgment, we're going to be using Judgment for damage and for some massive healing. Also, we have changed Consecrated Ground to be an aura that will always be with us, healing us and doing damage. And that aura can stack. You can have multiple layers of it, just like you could Maelstrom or any other layered skill. So for this, we have 2 points in Divine Destruction, 1 point in Austerity, 4 points in Destructive Impact, 4 points in Flaming Soul, 1 point in Holy Eruption, 2 points in Holy Blast, 2 points in Sanctioned Serenity, 3 points in Lingering Force, and 1 point in Anointed. For Abyssal Echoes, we are using this for damage. It's also going to give us a melee buff, a damage over time buff. Both of those together will, 1, increase Concentrated Ground damage, increase Devouring Orb damage, and the melee will increase Vengeance damage. So Abyssal Echoes is just a huge damage boost for you. For that, we have 2 points in Echomancer, 1 point in Temporal Echo, 3 points in Distant Echoes, and 4 points in Abyssal Infusion. This is where you get 28% global damage over time and global melee damage every time you cast it in the last 4 seconds. We have 1 point in Mental Echoes, 2 points in Reality's Dirge, and 5 points in Abyssal Remains. And to show you how that stacks, I'll go ahead and just run this for you. So what you're going to be looking for here is this 40% damage over time, and your melee damage, which is right here, 40% melee damage. So this one here and this one here, watch those as they stack while we run this. You start casting it, you see you get up to, well, you can see we max out at about, it's going to be 376. Yeah, 376 is the max. So once we put this on Instacast, you'll be jumping back and forth between 376 and 264. But, you know, 300% boost in damage, both in damage over time and in melee damage, is huge for one skill that also is going to be hitting pretty hard itself. And you'll be able to sustain the mana use on that just by using Vengeance and replenishing that mana. Now, back to skills. Now we have Devouring Orb. Devouring Orb is going to be used defensively and offensively. Since we are wearing the Plague Staff, you want to get as many hits as possible with it. And because of the increase of the damage over time, that's going to do good damage. And then also, since we are running all of the Void, Necro, Poison into physical and into fire, you want your elemental protection. So we have 1 point in Dark Moon, 4 points in Void Adept for that 40% global increased damage, 6 points in Abyssal Juggernaut for that flat and percentage increase in elemental protections and Void, 1 point in Hollow Orb, 1 point in Abyssal Emission, and 7 points in Dark Torrent. For Sigils, we're using Sigils again for offense and defense. That's basically how every skill in here is working, which I really like the fact that they can all be used for both at the same time. For this one, we have 4 points in Empowering Sigils and 1 point in Last Wish for a 6% chance on kill for one to be summoned for us. For the damage increase per active sigils, we can have up to 4, which means we can get 96% increased damage when 4 are active. With 2 points in Invigorate, we can also get 48% increased healing effectiveness. Healing effectiveness, 1, increases our defense because we're healed for more, and 2, increases the damage of Judgment since its damage is based off of healing effectiveness. It's also based off of damage over time and attunement and strength and a few other things, so there's a lot of damage modifiers in there, but both of these will help. We also have 1 point in Faith, so if we do take a large hit, we'll be instantly healed as long as there is a sigil active. 5 points in Iron Sigils for that huge amount of increased flat armor. 5 points in Enduring Hope for increased duration. 1 point in Meditation, and 1 point in Tetragram for that 4th sigil maximum. For Vengeance, we are using Vengeance as everyone should use it for a huge amount of damage reduction, a total of 66%. On top of that, it also gives some global damage, so that's always nice as well. So we have 1 point in Executioner, 6 points in Bolster, 1 point in Double Riposte, 6 points in Rapid Strikes, 5 points in Dark Duelist, and 1 point in Zealot's Technique. You can tell that since every skill is basically giving you a damage boost, it's actually possible to get quite a bit of damage stacked up on this, especially damage over time, which is nice with a poison build. Now for passives, we will be running 21 points in the base Sentinel class with 8 points in Relentless, 8 points in Fearless, and 5 points in Time and Faith. Void Knight has 15 points with 7 in Devouring Blade and 8 in World Eater. Forge Guard with 10 points all in one node, Battle Hardened for that 150% increased armor whenever we do take a hit. And then 67 points to finish her off in Paladin. We have 8 points in Conviction, 8 points in Defiance, 5 points in Honor, 1 point in Holy Symbol, 8 points in Valor with 7 points in Holy Symbol, 8 points in Alignment, 8 points in Faith Armor, 2 points in Divine Essence, and 12 points in Light Array. The nice thing about the Divine Essences is since we are doing a lot of different healing from a lot of different sources, most of it, the biggest portion coming from Judgment itself, there will be a chance when you heal yourself to get a Divine Essence, which gives you 10% increased armor and protections and healing effectiveness, so it increases your defense and your offense. At the same time, you can stack up to 3 of these, so 30% increased of armor and protections and 30% increased healing effectiveness. It makes a pretty decent defense just for 2 points. For items, we're going to be running the Plague Staff, obviously, and the Orion's Eye to convert that void damage into fire damage. It also gives you 100% increased fire protection, which is huge. On our chest and helm, we will once again be running the necrotic and poison damage taken as physical, as well as some dodge, attunement, and set glancing blow. For the other remaining 3 jewelry slots on the rings, we have set dodge and set elemental, with elemental and dodge. And then for our belt, we have set glancing blow, we have our dodge, we have some critical strike avoidance. We did not get 100% critical strike avoidance on this. I think we got 95%, which is close. I really wish we would have got just 1 or 2 more levels on the belt. And then we have set glancing blow and vitality on both the boots and the gloves with some dodge and armor and dodge and elemental protection. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some gameplay.